Welcome to the AI debate, where we explore some of the most intriguing, profound, and at times controversial topics of our time. I'm your host, Jack Stone, and today we're diving into a question that has puzzled people for millennia. Is reincarnation real? It's an idea that spans multiple religions, philosophies, and personal beliefs. Some embrace it as a fundamental truth, while others reject it as a comforting myth. Today, we have two guests from opposite sides of this debate. Arjun is here to represent the belief in reincarnation from a spiritual and philosophical perspective. And on the other side, we have Mark, an atheist who takes a skeptical, science-based approach. We'll hear from them both, and at the end, our panel of three will vote on who made the most compelling case. Now, let's meet our debaters. Arjun, let's start with you. What does reincarnation mean to you, and why do you believe it's real?
Thank you, Jack. Reincarnation, in simple terms, is the belief that after death, our soul, our consciousness, moves on to inhabit another body. It's not just a Hindu or Buddhist idea, but a concept found in various ancient cultures. In Hinduism, it's linked to karma. Our actions in one life affect what happens in the next. We are on a spiritual journey, and reincarnation provides us with multiple opportunities to grow, evolve, and work toward ultimate liberation. What makes reincarnation real to me is not just faith, but also experiences. Many people, including children, have recalled vivid memories of past lives, memories that seem impossible to explain through conventional means. These stories have often been corroborated by details from distant towns, families, or even historical records. To me, reincarnation isn't about escaping death, it's about continuity, learning, and the eternal nature of the soul.
Fascinating, Arjun. You're pointing to past life memories and the connection to karma as evidence. We'll circle back to some of that, but first, Mark, how do you respond to Arjun's belief in reincarnation?
Thanks, Jack. Look, reincarnation is an appealing idea because it offers comfort. Who wouldn't want to believe we get another shot at life after death? But just because it's comforting doesn't make it true. From my perspective, everything we know about consciousness is tied to the brain. When the brain ceases to function, so does consciousness. It's not just my opinion, it's a scientific fact. These past life memories that Arjun mentioned are often anecdotal and don't hold up under scrutiny. The human brain is fallible, especially when it comes to memory. Our minds are prone to suggestion, confabulation, and false memories. So, while these stories are interesting, they don't offer any concrete evidence for reincarnation. Until there's actual empirical proof that consciousness can survive beyond death, reincarnation remains a hopeful myth, nothing more.
Strong points, Mark. You're saying that consciousness and memory are products of the brain, and that reincarnation, without evidence, is more of a comforting story than reality. Arjun, Mark raises an interesting question. How do we reconcile these vivid past life recollections with the idea that memory is rooted in the brain?
That's a good question, Jack. While science tells us a lot about the brain, it doesn't fully explain consciousness. There's still so much we don't know. In fact, many spiritual traditions view the brain as a filter for consciousness, not its origin. Think of it like a radio. Just because the radio stops working doesn't mean the signal is gone. The signal is still there, we just can't perceive it through the broken device. Reincarnation suggests that consciousness transcends the body. It exists beyond this lifetime and carries on its journey, learning lessons and evolving. Some of these past life memories are incredibly detailed, down to names, places, and even specific family histories. When young children who haven't been exposed to these things recall such details, it raises important questions. How could they know these things if not through reincarnation?
So, you're suggesting that consciousness might not be confined to the brain, and that science hasn't yet caught up to explain this fully. Interesting. Mark, Arjun argues that the brain might just be a filter. Could there be a possibility, however slim, that science has simply not yet discovered how consciousness could survive death?
It's always possible that there are things we don't yet understand, Jack. But we shouldn't jump to supernatural conclusions simply because science hasn't answered every question. Throughout history, people have attributed things they couldn't explain to divine or mystical forces. Lightning was once thought to be a message from the gods, but now we know better. Consciousness being tied to the brain isn't just a hypothesis. It's something we observe daily. Brain injuries affect memory, personality, and cognition. If consciousness existed independently of the brain, then damage to the brain wouldn't impact it the way we know it does. Arjun's radio analogy is poetic, but it doesn't hold up under the weight of scientific scrutiny.
Mark, you're clearly taking a science-first approach. But Arjun's point about anecdotal evidence is intriguing. I'd like to throw a hypothetical question into the mix for both of you. What if we could somehow scientifically prove or disprove reincarnation? Arjun, if reincarnation were disproven, how would that impact your beliefs?
That's a great question, Jack. Honestly, reincarnation is central to my worldview, but if definitive scientific evidence were presented that disproved it, I would have to reevaluate my beliefs. However, I don't think science will ever be able to completely disprove reincarnation because it deals with things that go beyond the material realm. In Hinduism, the physical world is only one aspect of existence. The spiritual world operates under different laws, and it's not necessarily something that can be measured by scientific instruments. If science does advance to the point where it can explore consciousness beyond the physical brain, I believe it will only strengthen the case for reincarnation, rather than disprove it.
That's quite a flexible perspective, Arjun. And Mark, let me turn the question around for you. If there were ever scientific proof of reincarnation, how would that challenge your atheistic worldview?
Well, I'm open-minded in the sense that if verifiable, replicable evidence came to light proving reincarnation, I would have to reconsider my position. That's the beauty of science. It's adaptable. But so far, nothing credible has even come close. Most evidence for reincarnation is anecdotal, and anecdotal evidence isn't reliable. Memory is malleable, and humans are storytelling creatures. We're always seeking patterns and meaning, especially when it comes to death. If reincarnation were somehow proven scientifically, it would change the way we understand consciousness, no doubt. But until that happens, I'll stick to what can be observed and tested.
So both of you are willing to adjust your beliefs if strong evidence emerges, a commendable stance for both science and faith. But let's dig deeper. Arjun, you mentioned karma earlier. How does karma fit into reincarnation, and why is this moral cause and effect so crucial in your view?
Yes, karma is deeply connected to reincarnation. It's the law of moral cause and effect. Essentially, the actions we take in this life, both good and bad, shape our experiences in future lives. Reincarnation isn't random. It's influenced by our choices and deeds. This idea offers a sense of cosmic justice. What we do matters, and we are responsible for our growth across lifetimes. For me, karma provides a reason for why some people experience suffering while others experience happiness. It's not about punishment or reward, but about learning and evolving. Reincarnation gives us the chance to correct our mistakes and grow spiritually over time.
So, karma and reincarnation work hand in hand to guide moral development across lifetimes. Mark, I imagine you see this idea differently. How do you respond to the concept of karma?
The concept of karma is appealing because it suggests that the universe has a built-in sense of justice, that our actions come back to us in meaningful ways. But like reincarnation, there's no scientific evidence to support this. The reality is, life is often random. Good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. It's uncomfortable, but it's the truth. Karma and reincarnation seem like mechanisms for making sense of the chaos, but they don't align with how we understand cause and effect in the natural world. We make moral choices because they impact the people around us in this life, not because of some cosmic tally system.
Interesting contrast there. Karma as a spiritual framework for justice versus the randomness of life without it. All right, we're getting toward the end of our debate, so let me ask one final question to both of you. If you could leave our audience with one key takeaway from your side of the debate, what would it be? Arjun, let's start with you.
I would say that reincarnation offers a deeper perspective on life's purpose. It's not just about this one lifetime, It's about a journey, a process of growth and learning. Whether or not you believe in reincarnation, I think it's valuable to reflect on how our actions ripple across time. If reincarnation is real, we're part of something much larger than ourselves, a cycle that spans generations, time, and space.
Beautifully put, Arjun. And Mark, what's your final thought for our listeners?
I'd encourage people to ground their beliefs in evidence and reason. Reincarnation might be a comforting idea, but without proof, it's important to ask ourselves why we believe the things we do. We should focus on the life we know we have, the one in front of us. Meaning and morality can and should be derived from how we live here and now, not from what may or may not come after.
Thought-provoking conclusions from both of you. Arjun, Mark, thank you both for a respectful, insightful debate. Now, let's turn to our panel to see who they think made the stronger case. Emily, let's start with you. Who do you think made the more compelling argument, and why? Both Arjun and Mark made excellent points, but I'm going to give this one to Arjun. His argument that science hasn't yet fully explored the nature of consciousness resonated with me, and I appreciate the idea that life's purpose stretches beyond just this one existence. It's a more expansive view of life, and even though there's no hard evidence, the philosophical appeal made sense to me. One vote for Arjun. Daniel, who do you think won today? While Arjun's ideas were thought-provoking, I'm going with Mark. I'm a scientist, and I agree that without empirical evidence, we can't accept reincarnation as real. Mark's argument was grounded in the present, focusing on the importance of this life. That resonated with me more. We've got one vote for each side. Sarah, you'll be our tiebreaker today. What's your decision? This is a tough one. I appreciated Arjun's spiritual perspective and the wisdom in reincarnation's emphasis on personal growth. But I'm going to side with Mark. His focus on grounding beliefs in evidence is something I align with. We should strive for understanding based on what we can prove and experience here and now. And there we have it. Mark wins the debate by 2-1. Thank you to our debaters, Arjun and Mark, for a respectful and enlightening conversation, and to our panel for weighing in. As always, we leave it to you, our listeners, to decide what you believe. Until next time, this has been the AI debate for today. Be sure to like and subscribe and tune in for our next episode. Thanks for listening.